starting now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Go for Two podcast. It is August 25th, and we just come off a crazy previous day of the news with Andrew Luck, which we'll get into as our first segment. But everybody, we're back for episode. This is number 6.
Number six.
We just keep it moving, keep it going, and it just gets better and better every week. So this is everybody's favorite couch quarterback, Dante, and I'm here with my man Don, the stats guru.
Yeah, and we're going to be here a little more often in the future with season starting. It's not just going to be once a month. You're going to get used to hearing us a little more often.
Yeah, I can't wait. Football every week coming up here pretty soon. Actually, it started last night with Miami and Florida, so we'll get to that. The preseason's going on, which I don't know how you feel about it, Don. I kind of count it sometime, and I kind of don't, but I mean, you kind of get a feel for the team. And then ever since not Andrew Luck, but Russell Wilson did good in the preseason, everybody needs to pay a little bit more attention.
Yeah, it's a big discussion back and forth. Do the starters play? Do they not play? Is it worth the risk of injury? A lot of debate. Teams are approaching it many different ways. A lot of people are getting hurt. But then again, how slow of a start are they going to get if they don't practice?
Correct. So, and I know there's been a huge discussion for the last couple of years on if they're going to extend the season and not have a 4-game preseason anymore. But that's always interesting. How much pressure do we want to put on these players to perform with all the injuries that are? It seems like they're happening more often than they ever did. It seems like I mentioned before, all these players are made out of cookie dough right now with all the technology that we have for them to recover. But we'll just go ahead and lead into the elephant in the room, man. Last night I was genuinely sad that Andrew Luck has retired from the NFL. A lot of news has come out. He even said that it was just mentally a lot of pressure on him, having to deal with injury after injury after injury. And, I got a lot to say on the topic, but I'll let you go ahead and say your piece, because I know you're going to bring up some stats. I know some people had conflicting ideas and arguments on what his career is like or what it should be remembered as.
Sure. 29 years old and the man's retiring. 6 seasons with the Colts. He says the fun is gone. Injuries, rehab, repeat. Injuries, rehab, repeat. He had enough of it. I can understand. And he's doing it year round. It's not like he's taking off in the off season. He's rehabbing. He's trying to come back. So that can get draining. I understand it. Now, we did put a post up about that on our Facebook about him retiring, hoping to get some feedback. This is a man that threw for 23,671 yards, 171 touchdowns, 83 interceptions, and a career 89.5 passer rating. Now, as my cousin Emily pointed out on a Facebook post, he had less than 200 touchdowns for a career. So what kind of performance is that? He can't even throw 200 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take a deeper dive into the numbers and look at comparing first 6 seasons of a quarterback. Just like it was for him, we'll compare to others. Andrew Luck is second all time for first 6 seasons in passing touchdowns. He's ahead of Russell Wilson, who's in 4th, Peyton Manning, who's in 3rd, and he's just behind Dan Marino, who was number 1.
Think about that, people. These are not small names whatsoever.
For him to be second all time in his first 6 years of playing, I think that's fine for 171 touchdowns. Now, in passing yards, he is 3rd all time at the present. He's behind Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, but ahead of Matt Ryan, who's in 4th.
Ugh, Matt Ryan.
I know. But these are some numbers. 2nd and 3rd all time, touchdowns and yards. That's a standout career. I remember watching him at Stanford, man. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, he got gypped with the Heisman. I mean, to be fair, the one year that Robert Griffin III won it, it was the year that he beat Oklahoma for the first time in forever for Baylor. Right.
The next year, I can't remember who won it, but I know he was just getting edged out in the Heisman race every year. Was a nominee every year. I told my wife last night, I said, me and Andrew Luck are the same age, and this was the time that I was in college, and just kind of watching him play, he was just so much above and beyond everybody else. You just knew, like, his freshman year, if he was to go out into the NFL, if he could declare for the draft, he would have been as good as he was right now. His football IQ was off the charts. Some of the throws that he made were insane. And I'm sure, you know, as Don is such a big fan of the Eagles, Zach Ertz was a very big part of why Andrew Luck was so good too. And we see kind of the talent that, you know, Zach has in the NFL, and I'm sure he learned a lot from Andrew Luck.
Oh, absolutely. Just
from his football IQ. So I'm very saddened by the news, man. I enjoyed watching football, and I enjoyed watching football, I enjoyed watching Andrew Luck play as well. And it's just sad to hear the news, man. I can understand somebody just. You put your heart out there. You put your heart and soul out in every game.
Oh, and you do it the right way.
Do it the right way.
Man.
That's what makes it even more sour.
Yeah, 4 years at Stanford, comes into the pros. He's a leader. He's an example. He rehabbed from injury. I mean, he just did everything the right way. I mean, and then look what happened when he come off the field last night. He's coming off the field and the fans are booing him.
Yep.
I mean, this wasn't Philly. This is the Colts fans.
Yeah. So, and everybody knows that I'm not a huge fan of Philly fans. I mean, Don and probably my boss are the only two that I could stand. The rest of them, they really kind of get on my nerves after a while. But just to go back a little bit, Cam Newton won the Heisman that 1 year before Robert Griffin III won it. So. But yeah, for the fans to boo Andrew Luck, don't even know the situation. This guy put his heart and soul out every single week. Lacerated kidney, torn up ankle, cracked ribs. The guy's playing through injury the whole season. Then the one season he takes off, you see what happened. You guys didn't win that many games. The next year he comes back and you guys are right back in the playoffs. Exactly. So instead of booing, you kind of need to celebrate that. You know, management was able to find and get you guys a quarterback after Peyton Manning and that's big shoes to fill there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we talk about Baker Mayfield filling in for the crappy quarterbacks that they had over the years and having the poise and persona to take over a team and have them do well after so many years of not doing well. Andrew Luck made you guys relevant once again after Peyton Manning stood up on the mantle, took your team to the playoffs almost every single year that he started. So for you guys to boo him is very distasteful. I hope those people really feel bad for themselves. I hope they actually find a new team to root for, because I'm sure Colts fans would shoo them out the door first before anybody else. So like I said, sad news. And I know Don has something else to say on the subject.
Just one other thing. I know some of our listeners are probably wondering if we're going to mention this. How many of y'all had your fantasy drafts already and took Andrew Luck?
That was part of my strategy.
It was mine too, man. I was going to have him as one of my two this year.
Yeah.
I think people were going to overlook him a little bit, and I had him marked down as one to watch.
Because if you watch Andrew Luck, he does both, man. He does both really well. He's not the fastest quarterback, but he's going to put his body on the line to get the touchdown. So, I mean, last thing I had to say on the subject, so we can go ahead and move on. I don't want this segment to be too long, but I know me and Don we kind of agree that that's going to be the NFL this year is going to be kind of less exciting that one of the best players is going that actually, you know, did it the right way. So, like I said, it seems like he was always on the short end of the stick when it came from the Heisman to being so injury prone every year. Really a shame on the management down there with the Colts. So if anybody wants to boo anybody, it should be Jim Irsay, the general manager, for not getting this guy help for the countless years that he was getting sacked. Like, he was probably the most sacked quarterback over the last 4 seasons that he did play. So. Like I said, it's sad news coming out. Football is going to be a little less exciting because of this. I know a lot of the players are going to be sad, but thank you, Andrew Luck, for being a quarterback that did it the right way, it just sucks to see, you know, somebody's talent just really get flushed down the toilet because the team didn't want to protect them. So next thing that we got on the list, talking about injuries, just leading right into it.
Absolutely.
Is all these crazy injuries that are happening too.
There's been a lot of injuries in the preseason. We have a handful of them here, some more higher profile players. We'll take turns on those and just mention a few of them. The most obvious that just happened last night, Texans running back Lamar Miller, player that Dante and I have traded back and forth in fantasy football before.
Yep. Mr. Reliable for
Very
us.
reliable. He has possible torn ACL. Supposed to be getting an MRI today to give us a definite on that.
Not probably going to ever be in the Hall of Fame conversation at all.
No.
But fantasy football Hall of Fame for sure.
Yeah.
If there was one of those. Lamar Miller is just an all-around good player. Another player that does it the right way. Sad to see, you know, the injury to him, you know, be something prominent this late in his career. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. He can rehab and come back strong. That's really going to take a blow to my number one team in the AFC South because he was a big part of why I chose them to be number one. And we probably have to re-rank because two big blows to the AFC South, you know, back to back with Andrew Luck as well. The next big player on this list is AJ Green, man. Out for 6 to 8 weeks with a torn ligaments in his ankle.
Oh, man. That is a blow because I know you were a little high on the Bengals this year.
Another
possibly
one.
Doing something. And this is a receiver who's going to go in fantasy drafts in the first round. And to have him out 6 to 8 weeks, man. What a
he can't catch a break either, man. He always seems to get these little nagging injuries. So big blow to the Bengals, but we'll see. New coach, probably new outlook. Probably one of those things where they already reevaluated that AJ wasn't going to be healthy. So next player we got.
Yeah, next player I'll highlight is Packers rookie Rashawn Gary. We talked about him during the draft. He's got a lower body injury. They carted him off the field, and they're unsure he'll be available for week 1.
Man, another player that we picked early on.
Yeah.
You know, hate to see that happen as a rookie too. Injuries to a young body right away.
Yeah, that's not good.
Now let's go over to my team, the Seattle Seahawks. One of them, my NFC team, DK Metcalf. Man, seems like he was another guy doing it the right way. Russell Wilson was excited to have a big, tall body out there.
That's right.
Finally, and seemed like, you know, everybody was meshing together, and he might need a minor knee surgery on week 1. So who knows?
It's questionable if he'll be ready.
Yeah. So we hope it's not too serious. Hope they just scope it out and figure out what the ligament problem or whatever the knee problem is and get him back on the field. And then, well, I guess we'll just do one more here off this list because there's a couple different names, but I think this one we need to circle for if the Dolphins either decide to survive this season would be Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's questionable for week 1 with a foot injury. That could tell a lot. They need a healthy running game, healthy passing game.
They're going to need a healthy everything.
Healthy everything if they're going to do anything.
Because I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. It sucks to be a Dolphins fan right now. Maybe one more. We'll knock one more out here since the Colts are getting.
Yeah, so we're talking Colts.
Yeah, Deontay Foreman, running back for the Colts, torn biceps. He might be put on injured reserve here.
Wow, can you imagine being out a starting running back and now your starting quarterback retires?
Yeah,
Jacoby Brissett, man, he better be ready.
Andrew Luck talks very highly of him, so I know Jacoby Brissett used to play with the Patriots too during that time when Tom Brady did his four-game suspension. He was part of getting that team and putting it on his back, and then I think he was shortly traded right after that to the Colts.
That's right.
While Andrew Luck was out. So next thing we want to get into, it was the weirdest year for the top 100. And I don't know why some of the names were picked. Hey, but we don't know. They're voted on by the players. It doesn't say anything about statistical value or what's going on. So always keep that in mind. It's just me. If me and Don had to do a top 100, kind of think about that where we would put them. But we don't know what the players are thinking. It's a lot of respect between them. So
yeah.
I know Don had a couple on his list that he was just scratching his head at. And I would tend to agree. So let's knock Aaron Donald out first, being number one.
Number one overall. Yeah. Here's what I have on Aaron Donald. He was number 8 in tackles for the season, number 1 in sacks, and in the postseason, no sacks, and number 4 in tackles. He disappeared in the playoffs. He is a sack machine. He's a D-line force, but he vanished in the playoffs. He is not worthy of number 1, in my opinion.
Yeah, truly not a true number 1 overall player. If you're looking at the whole body of work, he was a force to be reckoned with. He has been the last 2 seasons. I think he's been Defensive Player of the Year, going for title number 3 here.
Right.
Which he's probably going to get it if he keeps up with this.
Oh, for his position, yeah. Number 1 for his position. But overall,
he's going to be another name if he doesn't really step it up for his team with all the talent that's around. And kudos to him with all the talent that's on that team and be the one to stand out and to be the number 1 person with the Todd Gurley. I know we hate to say it, but Jared Goff, Robert Woods, all those guys out there. And now they got Ndamukong Suh that was helping them on the D-line this year. To be the number 1 person overall on the team, to stand out on a whole bunch of talents, that's kudos to him. But you gotta do the whole package, man. You can't just slip up in the playoffs. Imagine if he would have been as a force in the playoffs, the Rams probably would have won the Super Bowl. Regardless of Jared Goff's little hiccup, he, when the pressure's on him, we already know he crumbles. Another name I'm going to throw out there, number 2 overall, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
How?
Well, this is what I got to say about Antonio Brown. He was number 9 in total yards, but number 1 in touchdowns. Only thing is,
oh wait, he was number 7.
He's number 7.
Yeah, number 2 was Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But still, that's okay. His numbers just don't compare. He was number 9 in yards. Juju Smith-Schuster was number 5 in yards. So he got more. Now, granted, Antonio Brown doubled Juju's touchdown production, but Antonio gets ranked 7th and Juju gets ranked 47th?
Yeah.
No, something's wrong here.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Juju had an amazing year for having a superstar on his team, but as we know, Antonio Brown is continuing to prove everybody right throughout this offseason anyways with this helmet issue. I mean, granted, everybody that's played football, I understand that the face mask and the helmet is a very important part. It's just, it makes another element on having to catch a ball. But then again, find another helmet, make it work.
Yeah,
Stop being such a diva.
I can understand him being upset with it. Other players are upset with it too.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, but
he's
when
upset
the
with it.
Players Association agrees on the type of helmet, you're stuck. There's nothing else you can do. Suck it up like everybody else does.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He will be okay. So, before we get into the next player, and I know I can kind of agree with it. I know you're disagreeing with it. One player that I can agree that we would probably say would be number 1 should have been Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think so.
My wife was very pissed off about that, to say the least, that he was not number 1. Dude was amazing. And if we're considering, I always say this, if we're considering basketball terms, that if you don't play a full season, you're still considered a rookie your next season. The guy played, 1 game? All right, I don't think he even started a game. I think he came in at halftime and took over. Come on, man. This is really his rookie season for him to go out there and do what he did. The next player that, like I said, that I kind of agree, but, Don tends not to agree with this one, is number 2, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. Yeah. Drew Brees, I like Drew Brees. Don't get me wrong. I had him as one of my quarterbacks on my fantasy team last year. But he was number 13 overall in passing yards. Had a quarterback rating of 115.7 in the regular season. Okay, he had a great season, better than average, we'll say. 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but then in the playoffs, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 95.6 rating. So a better than average season, inconsistent in the playoffs. He's not number 2 overall.
This is where I can kind of agree with the players that it's kind of a respect thing.
It is a respect thing. It has to be.
With him breaking the record this year and having that moment, which, sidebar, that was a really cool moment that the Saints and the other team agreed to do for him. And telling his kids that, anything's possible if you just put your mind to it, with all the obstacles that he had to deal with. And I remember, I think I was like, was I in middle school at the time? I remember when he went to the Chargers.
Yeah.
And he was lighting it up. And I was like, me being a short quarterback at one point, I was like, wow, man, like Drew Brees is going to be awesome. I remember saying that, and I said, whoever gets him, especially after his injury, because apparently his injury was like super nasty, where like his shoulder like popped over, or his arm popped over his shoulder or something. But then he came back, and look what he's been doing with the Saints ever since, man. Just another. I was predicting this as a child too. So with all the top 100 news, those are kind of the ones that we didn't agree with. You got the Von Millers up there. Aaron Rodgers, I kind of was like, why is he in the top 10?
Yeah.
Julio Jones, I think should have been higher. Todd Gurley, I think he was in a good spot. Tom Brady, I think, should have just been higher because of the Super Bowl. Khalil Mack was a little higher than I would have liked him to be. But who else should have been number 1? The person that wants to sponsor this podcast. So we're looking for a couple sponsors out there to, come by, sponsor a segment, sponsor something that you want us to talk about on the show.
Yeah, if we do a weekly injury update, you could sponsor the injury update.
Exactly.
It could just be a segment. We're not asking for big bucks here. We'll promote your business. We'll promote your name. This can be an individual thing if it's not a business thing.
And me and Don are the most realistic football fans ever. Just because he likes the Eagles and I like the Jaguars and the Seahawks, or we like Florida State, or any team. I said last year, Don, remember this? I said Florida State's probably going to suck this year.
Yes, you did.
And they didn't even go top, over 500 and win. So, yeah, I hate to talk down my team, but it's just we're realistic. So if there's a certain player that you want us to talk about, how is he doing? How can he improve this team? How's their season going to go?
Could you imagine, though, if somebody did want to sponsor, they could sponsor the whole show if they wanted to, and that's reasonable too. How many times would your business name be plugged on this show?
Yeah.
Beginning, every break, every change in topic. We got your business out there.
Even anybody local, if you got your son or that's playing football at these local high schools, I'll come out and watch. We'll talk about them on the show, in a segment, and kind of get your son's stats, and we'll talk about them a little bit. So, anything's possible. This is an overall football show. If we get, some time at the end of the show, we might even talk about the XFL and, what they're doing. So you can sponsor a segment for us to talk about it in half of our show with the XFL. That's what you want us to do.
And I know somebody out there is thinking, okay, what are these two knuckleheads going to do with sponsor money? Well, what we're going to do, we're going to turn around and come up with things that we can do that's good with the money, such as if we have contests, we could have giveaways with our logos on them. If we have local sports in this Middletown area that we could help sponsor with that money, we can do that. We're not going to be fools with it.
Yeah, we'll be very responsible. We know that, this is all about football at the end of the day, and anything that we can help the sport to help your business or help, a local team, that's what we'll try to do. So we're not beyond the scope, staying in the scope of just the NFL and college. We don't mind venturing out in other places too. Football is football at the end of the day. And the last thing, just keep an eye out. We might have some giveaways or something coming up, very soon. So just, keep an eye out on Facebook and pull some traffic through there. Make sure you're paying attention.
Can I give him a clue with kind of what we might be leaning towards?
Yeah.
Not the product, but why.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Kudos out there to Doug Peterson, the head coach of the Eagles. Their last preseason game, the shortened one because of the storm. After the second touchdown, he does not trot out the kicker for the give me extra point. No, he says go for 2.
That's right.
And they converted, and they got the 2 points. So be on the lookout this season for 2-point conversion attempts in the NFL. I'll leave it at that for now.
We are the Go for 2 podcast. We named it that for a reason, so just keep an eye out. Next thing we want to get into, and I'll let Don attest to this, is some of the Cowboys and Eagles news, because those dang Cowgirls, man, they got a lot of drama.
A lot of drama.
And I know some of you Eagles fans and even it seems like everybody hates the Cowboys, so it doesn't really matter.
Hey, well, let me tell you, I don't know how easy it would be to be a Cowboys fan this offseason. I mean, granted, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but they have so much drama going on.
Absolutely.
So Zeke has 2 years remaining on his contract, but he won't even show up for camp until he gets a new contract. So he recently got an offer between $13 and $14 million a year. He would be the second highest running back paid under the only person he'd be behind is Todd Gurley. But there's been no acceptance of this contract.
I don't think he deserves to be in a contract with Todd Gurley, just like Le'Veon Bell. I think Todd Gurley is in a class of his own right now, barring the injuries. But
right.
I think Todd Gurley just has a lot more than what Zeke and Le'Veon had with the Steelers. So we'll really see what I'm talking about when he plays with the Jets this season.
Well, I mean, another thing you got to keep in mind, you want to make him the second highest paid running back with all the off-field issues and all the headaches you got to deal with every year with this guy getting in trouble.
So think about it, guys. Being a fan is one thing, but you also have to realize no matter if you like Jerry Jones and the money that he does have, he is investing into a player to represent his team every single year. So having somebody, what was the guy that got signed, the linebacker?
Oh, Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith. Having somebody like Jalen Smith that is there for the team, there every game, not causing all these off the field issues. He's one of those guys that you want to invest to be on your team every single year.
Yeah.
Zeke, you never know what he's going to do in the offseason, whether if he's going to get suspended for 4 to 6 games a year. Dak Prescott, this is all I was something up. I was a big Dak Prescott supporter. I think he is a good quarterback. I'm not going to say that he's not. But let's go look at a video. You can go to YouTube and see this video. David Carr and him like at a Dave & Buster's or something, and they were throwing footballs at targets. Dak missed every single one of them. And how long has David Carr been out of the league? Yeah. He was not known to be the best quarterback ever, but he hit all the targets.
Now, speaking of Dak, I mean, I will give it to you. He is a better than average quarterback, and he has not had an injury history. So I'll give him that.
He plays smart.
He does.
I think it's a little too conservative, but he plays smart. So.
Well, he was offered $30 million a year on a new contract and turned it down. Sources were indicating he wanted to be closer to $40 million and be the highest paid quarterback. I don't see that, man. I really don't.
He's got Zeke talking in his ear because they're like really good friends.
And then the next one, the next stooge is Amari Cooper. He's out with a heel injury. He's got plantar fasciitis. He can't practice. He'll likely miss all the preseason, but he also wants a contract extension. Now, how do you think those three guys feel when Jerry Jones puts out a 5-year, $64 million extension for the linebacker Jalen Smith?
Shut your mouth and do your job.
That's it.
That's it.
And then after the last preseason game, 14-10, Cowboys won over the Rams. Running back Tony Pollard only ran 5 times for 42 yards, but he got a touchdown. And Jerry Jones is being interviewed about that after the game. And somebody asked him about Zeke, and he's like, Zeke who?
Shut your mouth and do your job, guys. I mean, regardless if you like Jerry Jones or not, what he's doing right now is saying, you're not above me. You're not above the team. Regardless if people like me or not, you gotta you got to show me that you want to be here. So with the three divas talking,
man.
you know, you got Jalen over there who's doing his job every year. I'm going to pay the guy that's not talking, that's going to be here every single game, is going to put his heart out there. So I don't blame Jerry Jones for this. Regardless if you hate the man or not, this is a very smart move.
Yeah.
And by him saying Zeke who, how would you feel? I mean, to be honest, if you're Zeke Elliott, how would you feel?
He was offended.
Good. he deserves to be offended.
Oh, man.
I mean, take away that line, like I said, and I think most of America would agree. I don't know if there's any Cowboys fans out there. I don't know if you would agree. If you take away that line, he would suck. But you got your boy Tony Pollard, who's rushing for 5 yards and 42 yards in a touchdown, or 5 rushes for 42 yards in a touchdown in one game.
Yep.
Come on. Come on. If my grandma was still here, she could probably run, 100 yards every game with that line.
I mean, let's think back to last year with Le'Veon Bell. I mean, he's not going to play. You bring in who's next, and Connor has a great year. So,
yeah,
you're always replaceable.
Yeah, you're not above the team. The only time you can really say that is, and people are going to hate this too, Tom Brady makes a lot of receivers.
Oh, he does.
Every receiver that's going out to another team has not done well, besides maybe Wes Welker, and Randy Moss is just a talent that we haven't seen, ever, just for the stuff that he did. But not other. Danny Amendola goes to the Dolphins and stuff. Poops the bed. So, next thing, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the college football world. We'll kick it off just like they kicked it off last night with Florida and Miami. Two of the teams that Florida State does not like. Two rivals, but Florida ended up edging it out last night, man. Miami kind of had them by the throat up until that last throw.
Yeah, I was thinking that Florida was going down. I was really
being number 8. Oh, that would have just kicked it off for the season for me there.
I was so looking forward to that, but they just couldn't pull it out. But they did play a decent game. So
that really shows. It's hard to give kudos to the Florida Gators team, but that shows Felipe Franks he's got ice in his veins, man. To make that throw that late in the game, and to score that touchdown, really shut up a lot of his doubters, because everybody was like, is he a good quarterback or not? So I don't think he's like Trevor Lawrence or Jake Fromm or anybody like that. But it does show that he's got some poise and stuff to edge out a game. But also on the flip side, people better watch out for this Miami team, like we were saying.
Yeah.
They're going to be crazy good.
They are.
Their defense is for real.
It is for real. They did impress.
Yeah, so just to kick that off, the NCAA top 10 came out right before that. I'm sure Florida's either going to stay the same or move up a spot or two after this win. But I'll let Don go ahead and head off what our top 5 is looking like.
Okay, top 5 preseason rankings. Let's start at number 5. And that would be Ohio State.
I don't know why they're number 5.
They're number 5. Wait till you hear who's in front of them. Oklahoma is in at number 4.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
Number 3, we got Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Alabama. You heard that right, 2. And then number 1 is Clemson.
As much as I don't like Alabama being number 2, you just have to respect that Alabama is going to be Alabama.
Yeah.
So, the breakdown for the top 10, we got 1 ACC team, 1 Big 12 team, 1 Big 10, and 2 SEC teams.
Uh-huh. Spreading it around a little bit.
Spreading it around a little bit. This is looking good though. I can honestly say, but could we have thrown in a Pac-12 team there? Possibly Oregon?
Oregon, they're sitting at number 11 right now in the preseason.
So they're not even in the top 10. But we do have an Independence team that's sitting there at number 9. That's Notre Dame.
Yes, we do. And that matchup that you and I talked about with Oregon and Washington, they're sitting right now at number 11 and number 13.
Craziness, man. So edging out the top 10, we got LSU, which me and Don really like. We expect them to beat Alabama this year. Michigan, another team that we think is going to win the Big Ten.
Yep.
Florida, they're kind of in a weird position beating an unranked Miami team, but like I said, Miami is for real, so that does deserve some type of respect. But after looking at this top 7, I don't know if they're going to move up a spot or not.
I don't.
I think one of these other teams would have to lose for them to move up. I think they stay at 8. Notre Dame at 9. Texas at 10. Texas is going to be for real this year,
yes,
too.
Yes, they are.
Let's see. And let's head on to the top 15. Starting at number 11, we said Oregon.
Yep, Oregon. And then Texas A&M. And then Washington.
Mm-hmm.
At 14, the Utes. Utah. And then Penn State.
Penn State. They lost a lot of players this year. I don't know if I probably would have had them maybe 20, but who knows? I think Penn State's trying to get to where they're at, where they were before years ago. Washington, I know you like the quarterback out there.
Yeah. I think I talked about him in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
He was a transfer from Georgia, Jacob Eason. Wasn't a guarantee he'd win the starter's job, but they just announced this week that he did, and he will be the starter.
And interesting, Utah is always in the top 15, it seems like these days. They just can't punch it through.
Right.
And it's just one of those teams you always put in the back of your mind, and you never remember that they're actually like for real every year, but top 15. Edging out the top 20 here, we got Auburn. There's an important game that we're going to mention later on with Auburn.
Yep.
For week 1. UCF, the national champions from 2018. Michigan State, another team that's always in the top 20.
Yep.
Wisconsin, and Iowa. So a couple Big Ten teams there, edging out the top 20.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot to be said. They're always strong teams. UCF is probably the surpriser there. Let's just get them let's get them a Big Ten team and have them play against them, some big boys, and see how they do. And then to edge out the top 25, my wife's going to be happy about this one when she sees it.
Okay.
So I'll let Don go ahead and edge that out.
Okay. Coming down after Iowa at 2021 is Iowa State, keeping it close. And then here it is. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Syracuse.
The Syracuse Orange at 22. They are for real, man. They are for real. I like their team a lot. And, it was years and years of watching these teams go. Them and Florida State play each other in the ACC when they came over. And me and my wife started dating around that time. And it was like, well, I know that they suck at football, but we can beat you at everything else. Basketball. Lacrosse. But yeah, it's good to see Syracuse in the top 22, man. I think Dino Babers is their coach's name. He's good, man. I like the energy. Some of the videos I watch with them in the locker room is really fun to watch their team. So a little shout out to Syracuse here.
And let me tell you, people, you're not here seeing what I'm seeing. Dante is being totally sincere here. His wife is not standing nearby beating him over the head to say good things about Syracuse.
She's at work. I'm sure she'll listen to this later and probably smile because Florida State is not even on this list.
No, they're not.
But I'll tell you who is. Rounding out the last 3 in the top 25.
Yeah, we got Washington State, Nebraska, and Stanford.
That is an interesting one. Look at the record for Nebraska, and they're in the top 24. 4-8 was their record last year.
Yeah. Somebody's going to have a turnaround season here.
I picked them to have a turnaround season with not Tony Martinez. What's his name?
Adrian Martinez. Tony Martinez was the guy I watched in high school.
They're not related. I looked it up.
That's all right. Now, 2 of those teams we talked about in the top 25 are playing next Saturday. Boy, a big day next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Next Saturday is going to be a big day. Not just saying that because it's my birthday, but it's going to be a big day. Tell them who's playing, Dante.
Auburn and Oregon. Auburn's has been looking good. for the last couple seasons after they have been getting their team together. But Oregon, watch out for my man out there at Oregon to, start at quarterback and to see, what they actually can do, this season. Because I think they're going to win the Pac-12.
I don't know, man.
I think they're going to win the Pac-12.
I want to see the head-to-head with Washington on that one. I think Oregon is a better team, but it's going to depend on the head-to-head with Washington, who wins that.
You think?
But that's number 16 and number 11. Yeah, Washington has an easy schedule this year. If it wasn't for that, hands down, I'd give it to Oregon.
Justin Herbert, I just think he's a really good quarterback. He's going to fly under the radar. He's going to be one of those Daniel Jones type of quarterbacks. Even though I think he has the intangibles to win the Heisman too. I just think look out for the Oregon Ducks again. They just need to take those numbers on their jersey and make them a little smaller because they're really obnoxious now. They're like skyscrapers. This is crazy. And the last thing that we got a little bit of time here. We'll close out the show in the next 10 minutes. We're at the 40-minute mark. Okay. The XFL has announced their teams. I think it's 8 of them.
Do you remember the XFL? Yeah. Do you even remember the first time they got together, Dante?
He hate me.
He hate me. Rod Smart. Yes. Yep. Yes. And how they started the game. Just having the football and 2 guys run at the football. Yep. Whoever grabs the football.
Exactly.
But you got to hand it to them. That camera that was suspended overhead and went up and down the field.
They were the first to do it.
They were the first to do it. NFL's copied it now.
Yep. So when a good idea comes around, just make sure you try to grab some of that too. So
and they got some really interesting names. Go ahead. I'll let you handle some names.
So they say they base these names off of the city and the spirit of the city.
I don't think so.
I mean, the New York Guardians was supposed to be like some gargoyle type of thing.
Okay.
The St. Louis Battlehawks, I guess a lot of planes are made there, I guess. I don't know. Tampa Bay Vipers. I'm not a snake person, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought they would have went with the Tampa Bay Gators or something.
Yeah.
Because in their trailer, and they had these really cool trailers, right? So... And they would bring in certain people like Colin Cowherd, who's I think he's from Washington. So he announced the Seattle team.
The Seattle Dragons.
The Seattle Dragons. I've never seen a dragon in Seattle, but I don't know. Whoever designs these, this is going back to the graphic designer brain of me. Whoever designed these logos, I think the only cool one was really if I can remember, the LA Wildcats was kind of cool, but it was simple. But St. Louis Battlehawks had the best logo. It was like a sword with some wings on it. I don't know what their secondary logos look like, but the little videos that they did with the little stock images and the stock videos didn't really get me excited for anything. So, but the Houston Roughnecks, their logo looks like the Houston Oilers.
Oh, yeah, the old one. That's right.
Yeah. I was trying to remember what it reminded me of. The Dallas Roughnecks is just like a cowboy with the...
Renegades, Dallas Renegades.
The Renegades, yeah. Houston Roughnecks is the one that... They call them the Roughnecks, but they're really the Oilers. That's what they're going to be known as to me. LA Wildcats, I'm not sure if they have any type of Lynx Wildcats out there. And the DC Defenders, is that what it was?
Yeah. I can't imagine that.
They said it was because of I thought they were going to be called the Generals or something.
Yeah,
which would have made more sense. But it's dealing with politics and our leaders and stuff, so they call them the Defenders. So,
but I don't know, man. January or February 2020, the XFL's kicking off. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I'm wondering who's going to be the first one to jump over from the NFL, and then lo and behold, I see that Landry Jones, former Steelers quarterback, he signed with the XFL.
I mean, not a bad pickup. I mean, he hadn't had a lot of experience with the Steelers. I mean, he did fairly well for them.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just time for him to find something where he was actually going to start.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, you're always going to come last with the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No.
So I think we were talking about it with the what was the league that went out of extinction? It was early this year. They only lasted like 8 games or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't finish the season.
Yeah. God, I can't remember the league's
I
name.
have not followed. I mean, you had the World Football League. There's been so many that have tried to imitate and compete with the NFL. And I mean,
Alliance American Football League.
American Football League. Yep.
Oh man,
CFL's been the only one to hang in there, and they're not quite the same.
And they're on their own market because they're all Canadian teams,
Yeah.
which we're not even gonna. I don't think they're gonna scratch the surface of going to Canada.
I mean, and arena football's hanging in there, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just one of those things just to fill in that's always filled in during the off season with the NFL. So I don't know. I mean, the same teams when you had a Philadelphia Soul who were in the championship again, and I guess that other team won this year. Boo hoo! Let's all cry and go home. But nobody really cares. I mean, I don't know. The only thing that I think that they could probably do is what the Alliance American Football League should have did was be the B team to the NFL. Come to the NFL and say, hey, we'll develop the players that go undrafted, that get cut. Baseball and hockey have the perfect systems where they have their B leagues, basically.
Yep, absolutely.
And you can take them down and take them up, and you affiliate with the city and just keep it moving from there. Then that way, your city has somebody to root for. Other than your national league team, but also they can associate with any other city. I mean, that's cool to get other cities involved. Like for hockey, for example, Hershey, Pennsylvania is the affiliate of the Washington Capitals.
Now they've changed affiliates a few times, but
I think it was the Flyers before, but the
Flyers, and it was
the Avalanche.
Avalanche after that. Yep.
But it gives fans a different perspective to root for Colorado Avalanche because they grew up watching the Hershey Bears. I don't know. They could do it like that. I don't know why the XFL won't spin it like that. But
I mean, baseball I think is probably your best example. I mean, locally to where we are, you got the Wilmington Blue Rocks, you got the Aberdeen Ironbirds. You don't know how many major leaguers I have seen between those two places when they started.
Yeah, Lancaster Barnstormers.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. So that's the way to do it. You develop them and then let them move up.
Because you think about it at the end of the day, how many times have you really... Now, there's been, 25,000, I think Chris Carter was saying one day, of how many people actually went to the NFL over its 100-year lifetime. Only 12,000 started... like 4 years or more. I had to look up the stat, but I think I watched that earlier today, him saying that. So it's a really small fraternity of people that actually get to go to the league. But wouldn't it be better if you had somebody to get developed in the AAF or the XFL or all these smaller teams, have an affiliate team, they can grab them and pull them up, and it totally just one person could probably turn your season around instead of having something like Andrew Luck right now happen. They can't grab from anywhere but free agency or somewhere else, to try to help them out. Oh, wow. And we just got breaking news about 29 minutes ago. Josh Gordon is dressed in full pads today.
Yeah, he's going to be, looks like he's going to be removed from the non-football injury list.
Just take the weed thing, man. Just let him smoke the weed. Like... There's too many good... I mean, has he been in any other trouble other than just getting caught for weed?
Well, I mean, maybe he knows Nate Diaz, Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Nate Diaz.
I mean, Diaz comes out in his open workout.
Yeah, smokes a joint.
Passes it around. And then he beats Anthony Pettis.
Yeah. Now he's the biggest name in MMA right now, probably.
I'll tell you.
Oh, dude.
Sorry to get sidetracked on that, but,
Nah, that's crazy. So... hopefully Josh Gordon can just follow the rules this year. Exactly. He's another talent. We saw what he did with the Browns. Let's see if this guy can play. Give Tom Brady one more Super Bowl before he leaves out, so everybody will shut up.
Oh, no.
No, nobody's ever going to shut up.
We're not ready for another Tom Brady Super Bowl. No.
I think he's good now. All right, guys. I think that's the end of our episode.
Is this our last monthly?
This is our last monthly.
Then we're going to have, what?
It's week 3 of the preseason.
Yeah. Bi-weekly after that?
Yeah, bi-weekly is fine with me.
Boy.
Unless something comes up.
Once the season starts, yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to do it bi-weekly. We'll try to get some other guests in here to say their opinions about certain stuff. So should be fun, man. I'm excited about this football season.
Absolutely. As always, people, hit us up. We've been putting up things on Facebook. Please comment. We want to know you're out there. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to use some of the stuff you're saying in our shows. So we'll give you the credit. You're the people that are listening to us.
Yeah, we know the off season's a little boring. We tried to make it exciting. I think episode 4 was our most watched episode, like 150 views. So just looking at analytics from that, just help us keep growing this thing, man. This is not your off the frills kind of show. We're not going to sit here and debate with each other because we realize there's too many debate shows now. We just want to get back to talking football, guys. That's all it is. Me and Dom might disagree on this and that, but at the end of the day, we do this for fun. We do this for the love of football. So with that being said, it is never a gimme. You always got to go for two. All right, guys, have a good rest of your Sunday.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Go for Two podcast. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Go for Two podcast. Also, if you liked what you heard and don't want to miss an episode, please follow us on iTunes.